I actually see this comment a lot. How do you level stuff up so fast? I've mentioned it in a lot of videos. I've never actually made one that explains this. So I guess, wow, nearly 7 years into playing the game, it's about time I answer this once and for all instead of clicking this button and doing that. Because that's exactly how you do this. With Nova just chilling, sorry I had to say this, on the orbiter. So, what you do is, do I have anything that I am busy leveling up? Rank, and then go all the way to the bottom, and anything that's unranked will be down there. That's a spare, that's a spare. These are all unneeded spares, so I don't have anything that I am currently trying to level up. Let's try this for... Same, spare, 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 spare. Of course, with the Maradetron wouldn't touch it, that is to sell. Come on, I've got to have a weapon that I've partially leveled up that needs to be finished being leveled up. Nothing. Ooh, there we go. A melee weapon. So, to quickly level this up, the best thing to do is, I don't need these. I should also set this by name, but whatever. I don't need this equipped. I don't really understand why these are at the top. Oh, okay. Yes, I do. For my count. Taking these off means that any affinity, shared affinity, that is earned will be put onto that one weapon. Instead of it being split between a primary, secondary and melee, it will just go to melee. This of course works for a secondary. You would run a secondary only. So all shared affinity goes onto that one weapon, and as you can guess at this point, it also goes for primaries. If you are trying to level up one weapon particularly, you just run without the other two, and that means that all affinity will be thrown onto that weapon instead of shared across the other ones. For this example, the melee, because it's going to bypass the primary, the secondary. All affinity that would normally go to these two is going to go to the one weapon you have equipped. It of course also completely depends on who is playing, how many people are playing, and what mission they are playing. I tried Akkad and there wasn't many people playing there, so ended up in Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, which, to be fair, is not particularly where I wanted to go for this, being a melee weapon. Melee weapon is much better to level up inside of that Akkad, because you get that weird bonus. Yes, the infested, because somebody is going to mention this, do give way less affinity than pretty much every other enemy faction. They are not that good when it comes to actual affinity, which is why it has the bonus on there, but with the added 20%, it just works out as a tiny little bit better, and, well, it works. Tiny little bit better, and I'm just basically trying to kill time, waiting for it to do that. Level 19 in a minute or so. One thing I nearly forgot to mention, actually, luckily I was, for once, paying attention. Next to the player names on the right, you will notice those 3 squiggly lines. That is the shared affinity. You need to be in range of people. You can see they have just left range, which means you will not gain the shared affinity from people they kill. You can see there's numbers popping up from people I am dealing damage to on the other side of the wall, but if we actually get within range, every time somebody makes a kill, you can see the numbers actually popping off them, which is also a good way if you aren't keeping that little thing up to the right with the other player list. Then you just have to keep an eye out if you can't see the numbers from other people's kills. You are just out of range. Go back in, started at level 17, it got to level 30 without using any of this bonus XP that it also gained. Because I'm not going to slow it down, but it was almost at the end of 29, then turns yellow, and yeah, it is not that hard to level these things up if you just remember this one thing. Just run the one weapon. It can be a primary, secondary, melee. Doesn't really matter which. Primaries and secondaries do tend to level up quicker than melee does, depending on what mission you actually go on. So yes, level them up very quickly by just running one of them. The frame, I've heard of lots of different techniques. I've never got many of them to work. The only thing I can suggest for a frame is use the abilities of the frame. Even if they, like, unranked, Frost will have freeze. Shoot everyone. Ice Wave, spam it at all the enemies. Snow Globe, just put one up and keep spamming it inside of that one, and then you're going to have bubbles everywhere. And Avalanche, use it as many times as you can. This is why frames like Mesa can level up really quickly. Mesa was one of the most fun frames I had leveling up, because as soon as you get to rank 10 and you start using her fourth ability, Ivora is exactly the same, Wukong is the same. All frames that have a damaging fourth will gain lots of affinity much quicker. Just spamming abilities is probably the best way. Weapons, just run one of them and you'll be fine. Sentinels, they just level up in the background anyway, so well, honestly, who cares? But, and I will mention this just for the sake of it, is it one of these? Give me a complete nightmare. I think it's got to be that one, because it just stopped leveling up partway through. Hated it. I also don't tend to run Sentinel weapons that often, but yep, that's about it. So hope that you found this helpful, even though it is 7 years later than I probably should have done this. So thanks for watching. Sorry this was late, and I'll catch you next time.